Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Silent Podcast, this place where everything but silent at night. And I'm your host, Isaiah, back with another recap at night for Deal or No Deal Island. Cheyenne is coughing. I'm barely awake, but look, we're here to talk about it. So if you're watching this live or watching this later on in the week, please make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and if you're listening, 4 stars, 5 stars, whatever stars, we're here. Anyway, with my co-host, Cheyenne. Cheyenne, how are you doing today?
I'm so sorry. I thought I muted myself. I unmuted myself. I'm having a great time. Awesome episode. I have some questions for the group. And yeah, let's get it started.
All right. We also have back with us Katie.
Hi. Great season finale
All
of
right.
Deal or No Deal Island season 2. Really wrapped it
Oh,
up
that's
nicely.
crazy.
Season finale went off without a hitch. No more left of the
And
show.
then,
It's over.
and lastly, her perfect attendance is finally broken. Julia was not able to join us today, do some work stuff, but we have guest Tim, son podcaster, intro maker, and all that fun stuff. And I'm sure you guys watched this podcast that he did just for oh my god, what is that show called? Tim, help
Summit.
me. Homie, what is that show called? The Summit. There
The
you go.
Summit?
Katie
Yeah.
stepped in. I didn't get to watch that. But Tim, how are you doing today? What's going on?
I'm doing amazing. I'm feeling great. I enjoyed the episode. I can't wait to talk about it. I know it's gonna be good. I think the season is still going. Maybe I'm on season 3, Katie. So I can't wait for the season premiere next week for season 3. But I'm doing great.
Tim, how are you feeling about the season of Dondi? Because I don't know if you know, this is my first season, so I'm still brand new in this world, So how are you feeling about it?
I really like it so far. I feel like this season of Don D has just been so entertaining. Like casting has been amazing. Dynamics. We got some legends in there like Parvati, David from Australian Survivor. So for me right now, it's a 10 out of 10. It's a lot of drama, and we love drama when it comes to reality TV. So I've been really enjoying it.
I love drama too, and that's why I was very excited to come into this episode. Katie, did the drama deliver on the level that we thought it would deliver?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know if I needed it across 2 episodes, at least for the temple. Like, we all kind of knew that was probably going to happen, right? Like, I assumed as much. I didn't think CK was going, and I assumed it was not going to be Dixon because CK is a wild card. So I assumed it was going to be one of my girls that I didn't want to lose go. This to me was the worst case scenario in this instance. And to be honest with you, I wish they broke it up into 2 episodes because I didn't need the 2 hits that we got back to back in one 60-minute time period. But it's all right. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I always feel like when they do these things with cliffhangers, like it resolves so quickly right away in the next episode that there's really no point to doing a cliffhanger.
Right. And I do think production's being a little messy. Because I don't know if you guys know, they actually had CK doing some mid-season interviews last week, and it made me think that CK possibly went home. And I was a little annoyed by that because I'm like, why would you have CK doing these interviews making me think she was going home? And then I finally watched the episode today, and I saw my favorite to go home. I was pretty sick. But I mean, listen, Cheyenne, we just saw the aftermath of Philip dragging CK, bringing Harriet Tubman out the grave, as some would say over here. Did Philip meet the hype that we were waiting for? That they left this huge cliffhanger for last week. Was it worth it?
I mean, first and foremost, shout out to Black History Month. Black History! Philip, awesome. I think it's less so. So I personally didn't feel that bad about a cliffhanger. I thought the last episode let me off with oh my God, what's going to happen? And then this episode, I was like, oh my God, it happened, And then more things happened. It was like a very fulfilling episode for me. The question I really have is not about Philip in particular, but with the episode title of Snakes in the Grass, what makes a horrible person? Because there's several villains of the season.
It's a philosophical question you're asking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay with it, you know, because it's like this season, and I'm not trying to go off scripts. I'm not going to hop to the person who left, but they did bring this up on their way out. There's a lot of high mighty people here with like this integrity thing that's being dragged on, and this isn't new. Like watching these reality TV shows, the new people are always talking about like I'm going to play these games with integrity. I don't need to lie and all this stuff. And a full display. This episode showed hypocrisies across the board of every single person, and I love it. I love the mess. I love when people look crazy on TV. It just unfortunately came at the expense of my entertainment for some of these people, because usually my people come on the good side of it. It didn't really happen this time. Why do you guys think this whole integrity thing always seems to happen on these shows?
I don't even know. I feel like people think, okay, this is my shot. I'm representing myself. It's like, no, you're here to make money. You're here to win. If I gotta lie, if I gotta say that so and so did that, or that David won Australian Survivor when he actually just played, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I feel like I agree with CK, not to jump too forward, but someone who feels like they're only aligned with themselves, that's the truth. You didn't know these people before. You probably been there for maybe a week and a half at this point. And at the end of the day, if you win and you get that money, that's it. You don't have to worry about it. Like, the check is not going to ask you, can I trust you? Like, the bank already trusts you. So, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I hate this integrity storyline when it comes to reality TV. Like, it just nothing. I know we talked about it last week, and Isaiah, you said these people are like your favorite people, but I just feel like people go on a show, they don't know what they're signing up for, especially a newer show like this, And I think they're like, I'm just gonna play some games on an island, and I'm gonna play Deal or No Deal Island at the end of it, and then I'm gonna maybe win some money. And they don't realize that people are gonna be strategizing, trying to take people out, like, and then I think they just get hit with a really hard dose of reality at a certain point where like you should just come in exactly like you said, Tim, like, take a little bit of the Sandra philosophy of like anybody but me, and like just keep doing something to get yourself ahead instead of like feeling so, to steal someone else's words, self-righteous about the whole situation. Like, it's a little grating to watch, but it does lead to good TV sometimes. Most of the
I
time.
do think, sorry, I think that there's people who weaponize the word integrity, and then there's people who actually have and believe they have integrity. So I think there's some classic or classy players, I'll call them, like Philip and Letty and Lachelle. Even Seychelle, I'll say that they took integrity as a personality trait, whereas some people use it as a tool, like David and Dr. Will. And then there's CK, who is delusional. And so I do think that there's layers of integrity in how people use them. But you know who never says they have integrity? Parvati.
Very
Yeah,
true.
How'd
and
y'all feel?
and real quick, I did want to challenge you on that, Katie, because I think the easy thing is to be like, these people sign up for something that they're not aware of. But then, you got Dixon, who obviously watches these things. He knew who Will was. He knew who Parvati was. Like, he watches these shows. He even knew what Australian Survivor was, even if he doesn't watch it. CK was literally like, hey, there's a point in these games where you have to start worrying about yourself and switch gears. Who else? Philip even knew who Parvati was. Like, these people watch these things, even if they necessarily didn't know what Dondi was. I'm sure they've watched plenty of these things to know you have to do these things. So I just feel like a lot of these people are just full of shit. I'm just keeping a buck with you. But going into Parvati, I mean, like, just to talk about the show a little bit, this is just a chaotic banker simple, obviously, because first of all, outside of just CK doing CK things, Parvati is getting very vocal this time around. I thought that she possibly would have learned her lesson from the Will Banker Temple when they were calling him like all these names and everything. But no, Parvati didn't learn her lesson. She's she's bitch made. Yeah, she's taking shots at like Letty. There's like some stuff brewing, and I think Parvati really doesn't give a fuck at this point. But ultimately, we do see CK win, which was coming to a complete shock to me, and she takes out Seychelle. And Seychelle was, I'm not going to say surprising because I did, out of the people available, think that she would go. But I think she knew what the writing was on the wall. You see her last episode try to like soften things up for CK, saying, "Oh, I believe in you, CK. You got this." Obviously, she didn't really believe that, but I think she knew, push come to shove, like she's gonna go home. And obviously, she left on iconic fashion. She called her out, said, "I would have taken you out." She's basically called her a bitch and all this stuff. And Seychelle is
a cheat with a flat
obviously
ass.
Rob.
Listen,
Cheat with a flat Rob. How do we feel about her getting taken out from CK?
I'm gutted.
I was
gutted.
Yeah.
Honestly, her taking like that low blow with a body shot did kind of sour me a bit on her. Like I was really down for Seychelle and like upset that she was leaving. And I was like, CK, what happened to the girl power? What happened? You said girls over everything. But then Seychelle, when she said and you have a, like, what is it, a flat booty or something? I was like,
A flat ass.
yeah. I was like, miss me with that one. Like, I don't like when people put looks or body stuff into a game. So I was a little disappointed both with that she was leaving and what she said on her way out.
Yeah, I feel
I
like I
respect
was
that,
so
Cheyenne.
hurt. Yeah, when Seychelle got eliminated, first of all, I thought she was very much the entertainment of the season. I feel like she could walk on the stage and just have a conversation with the crowd and she would work it just because she's so naturally, unintentionally funny. I loved her. Like, I love seeing her. I feel like when it came to her comment to CK, if I'm CK in this moment, I'm like, okay, yeah, my ass might be flat, but I'm still in the game. I think $5 million could buy me a lot of BBLs or a real good one. So I'm not gonna be too hurt by it, but I definitely agree it was a low blow. Did I almost choke on my chicken wings while I was eating it? Absolutely. But great drama. Sorry to see Seychelle go, and definitely was a yikes moment for the comment to CK.
This is probably an unpopular opinion, but I wasn't mad at the body shot. I'm sorry. It just gave me old school reality TV vibes, and like it was relatively harmless. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. Not to say like it was right for her to do it, but I don't know. It made me laugh. I can't be too mad at it. I think it was just like kind of lighthearted shade, but like rude. Like I didn't think it was like that bad. But Seychelle was my girl from the beginning, and I miss her. I'm gonna be bummed that it felt like she was really leading the formidable side against the family, and like Will was a huge vital part of it, but Seychelle was really the backbone of it. She kind of got it started. Will was almost like a tool for her, and I think it's a little bit of a bummer that she's gone. But I had a feeling like out of anybody, I knew CK wasn't going to do Dixon. It was too obvious. And she obviously just like outed everybody at the temple. So I had a feeling it was going to be Seychelle since she started the whole like go against the family thing. She was just taking a shot. I have questions about CK, but we can talk about them later.
Yes, I would like to backtrack because when Isaiah asked me about Philip, I was thinking about the overall episode. But before Seychelle was taken out, why was Philip smiling very widely next to other people that were smiling, whether it was funny or uncomfortable, looking at CK, telling her, "You're the only one smiling." I was just looking at everyone's face like, Philip, everyone's smiling. Literally everyone but the baker's assistants are smiling right now. Like, I get what he was trying to say, but you could see like how flustered he was to the point of he didn't even realize he was smiling himself.
And just go ahead, Cheyenne. I'm so sorry. Did I cut you off?
No, if you're about to talk about Philip, continue, because I was about to talk about Letty and Pryor.
No, I was just gonna say in general, no, I'm the worst person to talk about these things with because I'm here for all of it. It's like, at this point, it's like she did you so dirty. I mean, it was fucked up. Like you have to say it, but like, hey, whatever happens, happens. And CK is just like, I don't know. She's so fake, and it's funny because, and I might be a little biased because of who left later on, but like, I am such a fan of people like this. Like this is so Jen from Big Brother 9 coded, or like sorry, Big Brother 8 coded. Like I'm
Jensa member.
There we go. Like the bubbly airhead person who just has like this high morality code and then just does all this fucked up shit to annoy everybody. I love stuff like that because it's like, where did you come from? You know what I'm saying? And CK is full of that this episode. We'll hop on to more of that. Cheyenne, what you have to say about Letty? I'm curious. What were you about to say about her?
Parv is coming for her during this like Baker's thing. Like she's literally like taking jabs, which was really weird. And it's like every scene that I noticed between the two of them, I felt like the producers were like not showing us key information, because I don't know how it went from Parv taking a shot at Letty during the Banker's Temple to the next morning Parv being awkward in their camp to the next day Letty being like, I want to see if I can trust her. Let's go on. You come on my side.
My read for that, and I don't even need to see more from it. I think Letty is not too much different from CK outside of the fact that she didn't try to cheat in the challenge. I think Letty understands you need to play the game, but she's also hiding behind this facade of integrity that we keep seeing. And it's leading her to making horrible game decisions at points. I think we even saw this last week where the obvious move is to not help someone like David or Parvati, but since you're on this integrity thing, this morality code that you're not really following but pretending to follow, it leads you to do certain things to try to look good in front of the camera. Listen, Letty, and I like Letty. Letty is also very fake. Let's be honest here. She's trying to pretend like she's like this goody two shoes person. You're also a part of these blind sides and everything. So it's like anybody on this show, including Philip, Letty, CK, whoever, who was in these confessionals talking about integrity, you're all full of crap because you all try to blindside homegirl last week. So everybody in this show is fake. Everybody, but probably like who?
Lachelle is just hanging out. She's just
Lachelle's
there watching the show.
One.
Yeah,
exactly. Everyone else is fake as hell, and the only people
this is crazy behavior that you are exhibiting at this point.
Yeah,
Letty has not
listen. The
lied.
only people
she played the game.
She has. She played the game, and she's acting like she didn't play the game. She is mad, and obviously that was messed up to be like put on blast. I'll be pissed off too. But then don't go the next day mad at Parvati and everything. But it's like, oh, I need to see if I can trust her. You just try to blindside her. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So they're both full. They're all full of it. The only people who was really like owning their shit is David, Parvati, and Will. Everyone else is full of crap. I almost gave Dixon credit, and then Dixon didn't own his crap either. And was like, why am I a liar? How am I a liar, Will? Like they're all lying.
How is David owning his shit? He's lying.
In the confessionals.
So do you think him
in the confessionals?
Okay.
These people are going to the confessionals and be like, I have integrity. No, you don't. It's one thing to lie to people's faces and then to lie to the audience. You lying to me. What are you talking about?
That's exactly why I'm confused about CK, because like even after the temple, she's talking about how everybody's a snake, and I'm like, ma'am, you are the snake. Like you are the one that caused all this shit. You tried to control Letty's like, and whatever move she made in the challenge before. You outed everybody in a plan that you were very clearly a part of, where Will could have very easily have sent you home and should have, and then you did what you said you weren't going to do and sent someone home who you were working with the day before, and then you're saying everybody else is a snake in the grass. Like, make it make sense, because it does not make sense. Like CK is a dummy, and I don't understand like how she like what I want to know, like what she's saying to herself in the mirror to like make herself feel like she is the good person in all of this and everybody else is bad.
But don't jump me when
Right.
I say this, y'all. But I actually, not to go back to last week, I don't think CK really did nothing that bad. Yes, it was not the greatest thing that she could do. Was it as terrible as I think people are making it seem? No. It's like if you finna start a race and the person says, on your mark, get set, and that's when CK started running. It's like, no, 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 no. I didn't say go yet. You have to go back. I don't think CK intentionally cheated in a way that they're making it out to be, or intentionally tried to break the rules in this grand way. I feel like if we're talking about integrity, and again, not to go back too far, Will almost quitting the game just because he didn't get a result that he didn't get is more of a issue in my head than CK making a mistake and then owning up to it by going into the temple. While I do think she might be the snake in other people's eyes, I don't think that she's necessarily this big enemy that they're making her out to be for her mistake.
Yeah, I don't really feel
Listen,
passionately about the cheating. I think it was a dumb thing to do, but like I don't, and I think it's actually more on the show that they just like let her keep playing. I think it's more of like what happened before that and her trying to like control Letty's moves and
there
then
you go.
cheating to try and make Letty's
Mm.
move, like force Letty into something she didn't want to do. And then after that, regardless of the cheating, was pissed at Letty when Letty never agreed to do it in the first place and like CK was trying to arm her. Like the cheating was stupid. But I
Yeah.
agree. I don't think it was like that big of a deal. I think the rest of it was what was
Mm.
just crazy about CK for her to then say, all these people are snakes in the grass. And I'm like, what? Who else stood up in front of the Banker's Temple and just like outed everybody's game? Only you did that.
Yeah.
When you were right in it
The
last week.
cheating, the cheating portion was definitely the scapegoat. Like I was just about to say the same thing as Katie. I think the beef is really being stemmed from Letty getting pressed by CK during the challenge to do things that she didn't really want to do. I think that's literally the whole thing. But I mean, more on that in a second, Shy. I'm so sorry. The challenge, because obviously there's a little bit beforehand.
Wait,
I mean,
before we get into the challenge, I'm so
okay.
sorry. I need to go back to defending Letty.
Okay.
Letty is an opportunist, but she's not holier than thou. She's just pissed at CK in the confessionals. You know? Can't we all be pissed at someone who you were working with and then ruin your chances to build connections with other people by being a weirdo and then got in front of everyone and called you out? I
You
don't
can
think
do
that
that. You can
Letty's
do that.
saying any lies in confessionals.
The problem has never been any of that. The problem is her masking all her moves in integrity
I
because
agree
it's
with you.
not true. That's if she just kept it real and be like, yo, don't really care for CK. I don't really like what she was doing. I'm coming after her. Boom. That's all you got to do. Like, I don't like how she called me out. Boom. That's all you got to do. Don't be like, oh, I got integrity and I got to stick to my word. I'm going to do this because I'm so high on my integrity. I'm such a good person, So like, this is how I'm playing the game. Like, I don't like stuff like that. It reminds me of God, I know Frenchie didn't do this in Big Brother, but it's a lot of crap Frenchie used to do like that. Like, you're not crazy. You're not better than anybody else, bro. Like, just play the game. Like, I respect you just keeping it real. Get that integrity stuff out here. You're not going to get more opportunities outside of the game for this stuff. Like, come on now. That's just me, though.
No, I mean, I agree with you, Isaiah. I think the issue I have with Letty is not her issue with, and I don't really have an issue, but the criticism I have for her is not how she's handling CK. She has every right to be pissed at CK and not want to work with CK anymore. Like, that is completely valid. But I agree, Isaiah, like the Parv stuff, like they were kind of going at it a little bit in the Banker's Temple. Parv was coming for her a little. Will has been mostly on her side the whole time. And then like the next day, she's kind of like, exactly like you said, Isaiah, I need to see if I could trust Parvati. Instead of being honest and saying, we got to break up, Parvati and David, so one of them can be on the losing team and they can go up against the banker and potentially go home. Just say that. That was always the plan. Either you want to get out CK or someone else in the family. Just say that. Don't say like, I have to see if I could trust Parv. You're not going to work with her anymore.
Yeah.
At this point, there's 8 people left, and then at the end of the episode, I think there's 7. Like, you have to figure out what you're doing to get to the end, and it's not going to be like being besties with everybody.
Exactly.
True.
Sorry, I just peeped
But
my
what
name
if
was,
it is?
Okay.
What if
Go ahead.
Parv has put the mist in Letty's eyes and
Well,
was like,
then
you
Letty
know,
a fool, because Parv was coming
Yeah.
for her at the banker's
that
temple.
could be it.
Like, what are you
Okay.
doing? Right? I don't know. Would you the next day after someone's coming at you like that be like, well, I don't know if I could trust her. It's like, no, obviously you can't. Hello.
And you-
Yeah.
Hello.
But the
And, you know,
Parv
granted,
mist.
And listen, we drag people, so granted, we're probably at fault too. But like, I don't care.
I didn't do
drag
anything. I'm not on
stupidity.
this show.
Exactly. I drag stupidity.
I do like Letty.
Jay
though.
West also some in the chat. Oh yeah, I like Letty. I think she's awesome. Yeah, you agree. He said don't lie to DRS, but a lot of them joints be filmed after the fact. That is also very true. Yeah, we saw Parv trying to piece it up with everything. She's like trying to make sure everything's good with Philip and Letty and all that. They're obviously not really feeling it. Like Letty's kind of being fake nice, and Philip just does not care. Philip is very interesting because at first I thought it was going to be very strategic coming in, and I'm learning over time. There's obviously like a method to the madness, but he just does not give a fuck. And you know, it's fun to watch as well as kind of disappointing because I'm like, I have a lot more hopes for Philip, but I'm here for the mess express while he's here, you know. So
My favorite thing about Philip is how he runs.
Yes,
he was running. He was sprinting.
was really sprinting hard.
I feel like he could compete with the Flash when it comes to that. Like he had the form.
He did. He really.
He had everything. He was ready.
He really did. I like Philip. I'm rooting for Philip.
I gotta find this exact video. Every time I see Philip run, he runs me this video. Hold up.
Please tell me it's not from the movie. I think it is.
It probably is. Hold up. It's from Cloudy with
gosh.
the Chance of Meatballs. This is when I see Philip. I see this.
Oh, that's not what I was imagining.
That's every time I see Philip. That's what I'd be thinking about. All right, the challenge. We've had some good ones. We have some boring ones. What's the temperature on this one? Do we like it? We saw Letty, Philip, and Will have a plan for Will to throw it. It's you get sent into the jungle for cases. The person picking the cases were Letty and CK. There's a chance they can go for safety with $0. The outcome obviously was very interesting. How do we feel about this challenge? Was it a waste of time or was it good TV?
I thought it was good TV because I don't know if we really talked about it, but there was a plan going into this challenge to separate the family and really target CK. So Will was going to throw the challenge and try and get on CK's team or whatever. They thought they were going to be pairs because it was even numbers, but ended up being larger teams. And I thought Will's instinct in the challenge was spot on because he immediately was like, I don't trust this girl. Like as soon as they realized that there was an opportunity for the captain of the team just to get safety, he knew immediately that CK could not be trusted. And he actually tried. It was weird to see Will trying in a challenge.
Yeah, I feel like I was shocked that people actually did trust her. I feel like if I'm a player in that moment, knowing CK has been doing the things that she's been doing, calling people out, maybe even have called me out at that moment. If I'm on her team, the amount of trust that I have for her is 0. She could tell me, oh, Tim, it's a tarantula on your shoulder. I would just have to die in that moment because I'm not wasting my time looking. If she says go for 10, I'm going for 1. If she says go for 1, I'm going for 92. I'm doing everything in my power to do the opposite of what she says, just because I know she's going to want to protect herself.
So I guess I just
shout out to Philip in the chat. Just want to say real quick, shout out to Philip in the chat. Like the run, brother. Go
ahead. So like a quick synopsis is the challenge is called, the theme is integrity.
I'm tired of this word.
And it's like CK was basically saying that she offered herself to the banker to like clear the slate. And so I think that's one of the reasons why people were trusting her, is because there's an idea that she wants to prove herself to others. And what I really thought was funny, okay, so brief overview. Letty chooses Parv, Philip, and Lachelle. CK chooses David, Will, and Dixon. This challenge is a parallel to the first season because, slight spoiler alert, Aaron was chosen by the entire cast to be the most trustworthy. And so he did this Captain Ledger thing by himself.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. And so I think it was interesting that when CK told Dixon what number to go for, she did not tell him the value of the case, nor did he ask. She simply said, I'm choosing this one because it's close. Go get it.
I also thought it was interesting. I thought Dixon was going to be onto her for that very reason, and because they didn't show him getting the case. So I was like, "Oh, he got a different case." Like he did. I was totally snowed by the edit, thinking that he went and got a different case because he didn't trust what she was saying, just because they didn't show him going for it. But they showed almost every other run for the cases. So I thought that was a weird editing choice. I guess that's why they wanted to trick us, and it worked on me at least.
Outside of Will actually trying in the challenge, which obviously if the results of this challenge went with the other team winning, then I do feel like this probably would have been I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on if this was a good move from Will, obviously, because we don't see what happens if his team wins or not. But regardless, on the other side, we do see CK actually throw her entire team in danger by going for the 0 case for coach's safety, despite promising someone like David safety. Very interested how you guys feel about this, because I feel like this was CK's opportunity to really kind of have like a refresher in the game, be in the Power Alliance. And obviously she says something that's very funny in listen, I'm taking this day by day. I guess my only alliance that I have is with CK, myself. So how do you guys feel about CK taking this approach to the game and to the challenge? Was this a good move, or was this probably not the best thing for her to do? Sorry,
Was there really a chance for them to redeem her?
Oh, go ahead.
Were they really gonna forgive her if she did that? If she actually helped them win as a team, were they actually gonna forgive her at the extent of making her their new ally? We already had the family, a well-known alliance at this point. There's already bonds between other players that you might see going on. So you not protecting yourself to say, hey, y'all, you can trust me again, would that actually have been enough? I personally think the mentality she had was probably good for the position she was in, but I think saying it out loud maybe didn't help her case at all. But she stuck by herself. She's still in the game. She's going to be there tomorrow. We see the person that was eliminated is not, and it wasn't CK, so it worked out for her.
I think there is probably a chance for her to sneak into maybe not sneak into the family like and actually be a part of it, but maybe slide into that MG spot and be able to work with them a little bit and say like, I told you guys that there was this alliance. You owe me a little bit. Like I'm here obviously for you. I'm proving myself. I kept 2 of the 3 members of the family safe. And she would have also decided who went up against the banker. So it would have been a perfect opportunity for her to also prove herself and get Letty out of the game if she really wanted to. So I do think it was a little short-sighted in the sense of like, you should have really pushed to get safety so you could have some decision-making power in the game. But instead, she just chose to keep herself safe. But she's going to be vulnerable next week anyway, because now she's pissed off everybody. It's like, at least before you could have been not getting shot at from one side, but now both sides are going to want to come for you because David was up against, potentially going home. Dixon was up against potentially going home. And like, that would have been a huge hit to the family, regardless if one of them ended up leaving. So I don't think she did herself any favors here necessarily, other than like lasting another day. If she could do it again throughout, then maybe it'll work out. But I think like from a protection standpoint, she didn't really do herself any favors.
I think she definitely benefits from Parvati not being on her team because I think that's her only like real in at this point. Because obviously, as long as Parvati's in the game and her and Philip are having some kind of conflict, I mean, that buys her another week. I think obviously Letty is a big threat that people are going to look at, so that might buy her another week. I'm very curious to see where she goes from here. What do you think, Cheyenne?
I definitely think that this is kind of Parvati building a case for herself to get to the end. Because like right after CK sends out Seychelle, which one, Parv's been up CK's ass ever since she blew it up. You could see them walking back to the camps together, featuring Parvati's winter boots. Um, and so I think that she's kind of getting CK under her wing and that she's using Letty as like a shield moving forward, and that she hopes that the two of them will probably take out David at some point for her. Um, so yeah, I think today's episode was really good for CK overall. She was able to get Dr. Will out. She was mean to Dixon, but they were sitting next to each other like they kind of trusted each other. And so I can't really see Dixon, David, or Parv going after CK. I can't see Lachelle winning. And then there's Letty and Philip, which I don't think that
Yeah.
either of them are particularly concerned about CK either, but maybe Philip would go after her. I can't
I
see
think Letty
Philip
is.
facing the banker.
I think if Letty wins
Uh-huh.
again, which she's won like the last 3 in a row, there's a good shot that she puts CK up against the banker again if she has the decision making power. Only because like why would she throw anyone else in there, especially since we see her talking about like maybe I could trust Parvati, maybe the like. So I think she would just continue to go after CK until she can't anymore. But that's probably the one, and Philip too if he ends up winning and going against the banker and winning. He and CK is vulnerable. I think their numbers are dwindling though on that side. So who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. And just to also throw this on top of this, how do you guys feel about Dixon in this situation? Because I feel like Dixon is the last 2 rounds at least been kind of put in a position where not only is his game in the hands of another player, but I feel like Dixon is solely only connecting with Parvati and David now. I don't really see him connecting with anyone else. I think in the early weeks, at least, it seemed like he was like involved with more conversations with other players. I don't really see Dixon talking to anybody else now in the game, and he is fully team David. Who, if you ask me, if he had to, he would throw him to the wolves. And Parvati, which I feel like Parvati wants to look out for him, but again, if she needs to, she would throw him to the wolves. So, how do we feel about Dixon's position here?
I think Dixon is in trouble. I agree. I feel like they would throw Dixon to the wolves with the quickness. If somebody wins immunity like CK and it's between Dixon, Parvati, and David, and CK's like a robber coming into their house, and CK's like, "Oh, give me your son, or I'm gonna like break your furniture." CK at that point, or Parvati at that point, is just like wrapping up Dixon in a bowl, saying, here you go, you can have him. Here's his birth certificate. I got his social security in my back pocket, because they're gonna get rid of him with the quickness to save themselves. I don't think he recognizes it at that point, but I do still have a little faith in Dixon doing stuff to protect himself. He already went haywire per se and went against his deal with Dr. Will. Do I see him doing that with David after this week? Not necessarily, but I still have a little faith that he could protect himself if he comes to that realization that they don't have his back like he has theirs.
I think the issue with Dixon is that no one really trusts him, and I think he's expendable. I was gonna make a mean joke, but we'll be nice this podcast about poor Dixon. But I just like in general, the whole family dynamic is so cringe to me. Like, why? I don't know. Like, even in the confessionals, we have to hear Parvati saying like, I have a husband and a baby. Like, this is so weird. Like, I hate it. Every time they talk about it, I hate it. It makes my skin crawl. I think it's weird as hell, especially because David has 4 kids and a wife at home. It's like, it's just been Dixon is a grown man. Like, this is so weird to me. I hate it. I hate it. I think it's bleh. So I'm ready for at least one of them to go. But yeah, I think Dixon, I think he could probably pull through if he, just keeps his eyes open.
Mhm.
I don't know why everyone's so down on Dixon. Even Dr. Will called him creepy, and he called the family creepy, but he
I
specifically
agree. The
called
family is
Dixon
creepy.
creepy. And so it's interesting because after the challenge, like Letty wins for the 3rd time. She chooses who's facing the banker. And David, just like Dixon, is lying to get what he wants. Like, I do think that even though that maybe 3rd episode, he gave us the idea that he would let Dixon go whenever, and maybe it's true, but he's also using that as if he's not being taken advantage of to take out Dixon. He's not going to voluntarily cut his own limb off. Um, so it was kind of interesting how Dr. Will proposes, cutting Dixon to David. David tells Letty that he'll send Dixon off. David tells Parvati that Letty told him to send Dixon off. And so it's all like kind of very messy. He is actively lying for what I think isn't a super big reason, unless I guess he thought that Dr. Will would campaign to see the banker over him.
Mm.
And I do want to dive into that a little bit because obviously, Letty has to pick someone to go in. And I feel like at least the last episode or two, Will has been very stern on this strategy that I thought was doing very well for him, which is I'm going to try my hardest to be at the bottom, to go into the banker's temple, play against the banker, and then try to make the big moves. And I think it's because of the position that Will put himself in when he first came in is I'm a big target. I need to do these big moves, and it's going to be messy. I feel obviously I have no way of asking him this, but to me, I felt like Will was like, I don't really have a chance to win this. So what I'm going to do is just make the biggest moves possible while I'm here and make good TV. I think after that last round, Will saw an actual path to the end. And I think he kind of started playing a little scared, which is not what I'm used to from Will, because I'm always used to Will doing the craziest things no matter what, and it usually works out for him. But this is the first time I saw him kind of take the back seat and allow someone else, Letty, kind of take control. And I'm not used to that. I think it was a major mistake to allow David to go in the bottom. Obviously, if he loses, that's perfect. But why not just have the fate in your hands and you get to choose if David goes home or not? You know what I'm saying? Like, we saw him do that psychological warfare against David and Parvati and completely get them off their game. I really feel like he got way too comfortable here. Obviously, David bested him by allowing Letty to make her own decision, which, again, I feel like is a mistake because we see Letty and Philip seem to just like listen to Will earlier in this episode. And then fast forward later, they're kind of like, I'm going to trust Letty and let Letty do what she wants. I didn't understand that. I'm not used to Will being so passive in situations like this where he's in danger when he knows not only did David call him bitch made the other night, not only that there's people in here who want your head on the stick. I just didn't understand that, so bad move, bad strategy for Will. How'd you guys feel about it?
I agree with you 100%. And as you know, I'm a Will stan. I've made that clear over the last few episodes.
Yeah.
Someone left a comment on our last video saying we were going to cry when David gets out Will. And as I was watching the episode, I was like, oh shit, that was a spoiler. Like, David's fully getting out Will. Like, I thought someone was just like rooting for David, saying that we were going to cry. I'm not going to cry because I do think, although I'm crying inside, I do think this was kind of Will's fault. Like, first of all, it was CK. I blame CK for just, obviously just letting her team be in complete danger and allowing the situation to happen. But I blame Will more so than David, because David would be an idiot if he worked with Will. Like, that would be so dumb. And I'm shocked at Will that he trusted David So I mean, I don't want to be like so misted by Will to say that he just like didn't feel like playing anymore or whatever. But like, I don't know why he would have allowed any of this to happen because it's so, like you said, Isaiah, not like Will to like cede control in that way. And you're right. Every episode, he said, I want to throw the challenge so I'm up for elimination. I can play the banker every single week. Like that's what he told us. And he had a perfect opportunity. Letty would have done whatever he wanted her to do because they were working together at this point. But instead, he was just like, David said, so like, and whatever. I don't really know what happened here. I'm confused by the thought process here from Will. And maybe he talked about it in the after show. I don't know, Cheyenne, if he addressed it at all, but like, doesn't make sense to me.
I think he tried to stick by something he tried to do with Dixon, try to be a man of deals, try to do things with the promise that people are going to actually stick by what they say. Not necessarily in the same way of integrity that we've seen other people try to use that integrity, but hey, you scratch your back or you scratch my back, I'm going to scratch your back. But at that cost of Dixon just didn't make sense for me to think Dr. Will would actually believe that David would stick beside that. While I'm on the other fence of being a Will stan, I don't know that man. He could be walking down the street. I wouldn't know his name. Seriously. Did not watch the season of Big Brother. Y'all really gonna jump me for that one. But he was entertaining. I can't lie. Very chaotic. And yeah, it just didn't line up with what would make sense. Him just trying to stick by that deal or make that deal and think it'll go through.
I would be okay with it if he made it as a backup deal and said, like, I really want to go against the banker, but Letty, if you don't want to send me, whatever. But make the deal as like a backup plan. And then you decide if you should want to be the one to either send home Dixon or send home David and be in the position. But I understand like making the deal to protect yourself in the event that David goes up. But like you shouldn't just allow David to go up and have completely no control over the situation.
It's really like full circle because at the beginning of the episode, after they get back from the banker's tipple, there's a moment where they're like sitting at the table talking about how Dr. Will's not as bad as they thought. Seychelle in the after show is talking about how he's mad entertainment, like stupid
So
funny.
true.
And Dr. Will sits at that table and says, I'm trustworthy. And it made me wonder, like with the title of Snakes in the Grass, considering how he tried to get Dixon to fall while losing, does being disrespectful make you a horrible person? Can you be a good person if you're always being an asshole?
Yeah,
I
I
feel
think you
like
can.
it's keeping it real versus being fake. Like
Yes, I
Will is
agree.
unapologetically himself, and you know what you're getting from him. Versus like CK, and I know I'm like bringing CK up. I actually like CK. Like I said last week, I think CK is hilarious and not on purpose. I think she's just like genuinely funny as hell. But I think CK constantly projects as she's one thing, but she's not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Will is very transparent. He's like, I'm going to be doing this. You're not going to like it, but like you'll come around to like get to know, like, you know what I'm saying? That's what happened to All Stars. And that's also what sort of, but not really happened in Big Brother 2. So it's like Will knows his shtick and it works out for him versus other people who aren't as transparent. You know, it's all about being yourself. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're going to accept me as me or not. You know what I'm saying? It's a little different.
Yeah, and I feel like, Will
Um,
puts on a show for sure, but I don't know. I don't think he's an asshole. I think he's like cocky and he amps it up for sure for the screen and for the shows, but like Isaiah said, like 100% what you're gonna get with him almost 100% of the time. Like, yeah, maybe he might mess with you, but like even what he did when he didn't send CK, he made it seem like he was gonna send her home. He's gonna like screw with you, but he's gonna do what he says he's gonna do for the most part. And like I would rather have that than have someone like a CK who, like you said, Isaiah, and like we said earlier, just like tells themselves lies about themselves. Like she doesn't even know who she is. So how do you know who she is and what you're dealing with if this woman doesn't even know who she is? Like she doesn't know herself. She thinks something completely different of herself than what she's showing us on TV, at least from what her words are saying. So like at least Will He is who he is. He says who he is, and you know what you're gonna get. Like I would take that 100 times over some weirdo like CK, who I agree. I think she is very funny and she's good TV.
He's a troll. That's all it is.
Yeah.
He's a troll. He's unserious. Literally, he blindsided MG. Now him and MG are super close, and she lives at his house right now temporarily. Like that. He's a troll.
Still so
He's a
weird.
troll.
Not over.
Wait, why did
He's
you
helping
say?
her out. He's helping her out. He's helping her out. You saw what?
Never mind. I was just thinking, like, because when you said that about CK, I was like, isn't she? David did what she was expecting, you know? Like, David sent Dr. Will home. She wanted him to. She said, take him out, you know, straight in his ear.
Yeah, but I don't think CK, who was preaching about, guys, I'm trustworthy. After doing what she did, and then lying to them, and then taking the safety case and talking about it's actually
What was
CK
the lie?
versus the world.
She's lying to
Her saying
herself.
that she has integrity
She's like,
and
all
she's not
these-
going to lie to anybody.
Yes. All these people are snakes, but I can't trust any of these people. They're all scheming and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, ma'am, you are the schemer. You are the queen schemer.
Yeah.
And the fact
And
that
I
she
don't
can't realize that about
care, by the
herself,
way. Like,
I don't
I
care
love it.
either.
But
like,
she
own
didn't
it.
I
tell
love the
Dixon
match.
there was money in there.
She didn't.
No, I know, but I think like to us, the viewer in the confessionals, she's talking badly about every single other player when she's doing just as much, if not more. So I don't care if she lies to the players, like that you should be lying to the players. But why are you lying
Exactly.
to us who are watching the show? Like that's why I think
I
you're
feel like
crazy,
it's
is
not.
because we see you, we see what you're doing, and you're lying to us, making us think like all these other people are snakes when like we're watching you play the game and we see what's going on. Like you're not fooling me. Maybe you're fooling yourself, but like I just accept what's going on and own it and say like I need to make these moves in order to win, and we'll be fine with it. I mean, I'm fine with it either way. It's funny TV, but like it's weird that she can't just admit that to herself. That is what's weird about her to me.
I don't think it's lying. It's just that the perception becomes reality. Like if you're seeing the world from yourself, like you only see it from what you do, your actions. In her head, she might be, of course, thinking, okay, I tried to work with Letty and Letty just stiff armed me. So she snaked me. She did this thing that put me in a position of danger. Therefore, she did something that's untrustworthy to me. So she must be a snake. You know, these people are trying to get me out of this game. Dr. Will is Dr. Will. So, you know, they're doing all these things versus in her head, she's like, okay, I tried to work with Letty in that one challenge. She didn't want to do that. I tried to make these connections with these other people. I've called out this alliance that's out here and I'm still the bad guy in some way. Like y'all must be the real snakes. I'm just trying to like, you know, think from her perspective of how she's trying to go through the game. She's like, you know, I want to make a move, but you know, they love to snake, they love to go around this idea of integrity. So in my head, I'm thinking she wants to play the game. She wants to actually work with people, to trust people. And those are things that she's tried to do. And now she's like, I guess I can only trust myself at this point, which leads to like her taking the case for safety for herself.
I feel like I totally get what you're saying. Sorry. I think she lives in a false reality, and like her perception is her reality, but like she can't even trust herself because everything that she's thinking is like if that's her thought process is like the opposite of what actually happened in real life. Like she was strong arming Letty. Letty never agreed to do any of that. It's like she's a victim of her own circumstance and her own actions, but she doesn't see that, and that's why I think whether or not she realizes she's lying to us or not, she's more of a dangerous person to me to play with than someone who's upfront and like honest, maybe cocky, maybe annoying, maybe joking, but at least you know what you're getting, where this girl is convincing herself of a reality that is actually not real. And that to me, I'm like, you don't even know what world you're living in. So why would I want to trust you and work with you? That's like
in Big Brother language, it reminded me of from BB17, there's a girl named Vanessa, or someone I know you're a fan of, Cheyenne, like Nicole Franzel, where it's like, you're doing these things in a game, and I don't care you're doing it in a game because that's a part of the game. But then when you get into like the diary room, you're like trying to convince the audience that you're like this other person is like, no, we see what you're doing. Like, you don't need to lie about it. Like, we know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what CK's trying to do is like, hey, I need to convince the audience I'm like this great person. I have integrity. It's like, no, like if you had integrity, therefore you would have did like what Letty did, which is like, hey, I could take the safety, but I have integrity, so I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take all the money and try to get the team to win. It's like, no, you don't have this integrity. You want to win the game like everyone else. And as you should. That's a part of the game, you know? So
yes, no one's going to be
I
mad
feel
at
like
you
if
for
she
that.
owned it, yeah, if she owned it in the diary room, I don't think anybody would care. We love messy people all the time. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. But yeah, that's where it's coming from, Cheyenne. I know we just yapped for like God knows how long.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I
thoughts?
get it. You guys don't like CK.
I
Oh
don't
my
dislike
God,
CK. I don't dislike
Okay.
CK.
I
think
like
You don't
she's
have to tell me
criticizing the
for
way
a
I just
she's
don't
fourth
like
portraying.
her.
time. I
I
get
just don't
it.
like her playing in my face. That's all.
Yeah.
You know
Me too.
who's
I
playing
can't-
in
I
our
like her.
faces?
Who?
The banker and her CGI boat.
Oh,
What's going on
The
there?
banker is kind
why
of
the boat got to be
banker is freaky.
CGI?
Have you
Oh
seen
yeah,
it?
that comment.
Yeah, she's
I
trying to
thought it was
spank
just like
This is the
David.
second time. This is the
be
second
real
time she's been
footage.
saying
Why are
some
they trying to spank? Why?
stuff.
Why?
When Parvati hit the British accent with the naughty, I was like, wow, we really going there.
It's just like the
So,
other week
Harvey's like, no, me
where
first.
where Joe's on the phone with the banker. He's like, "Oh, I like it when you're mad like that." I'm like, "What's going on here?" Like,
Yeah, that was so
I
weird.
didn't understand.
And
David
not so
obviously.
coincidentally, Meghan Markle
Mhm.
has just dropped her home living brand.
Let me tell you, I said in episode 1, the banker's Meghan Markle. I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to
I
it.
feel
you go.
like the banker. What if the banker's Amy from last season, like the runner-up? You know, Jordan got her money. She, is doing great things
No.
with it. She's too busy to be the banker. Let's get somebody who almost won it. Watch, when it's Amy, we're gonna go back to this clip and we're gonna be like, Timmy was right. Or listen, if y'all think I'm being a CK in this moment and like creating my own reality, let me know. But if according to y'all, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But if I'm right, I was right.
I think I put it out there. Let's
I'm
get
just
the
like,
tea.
what's the banker's narrative here? Because before it's, oh, you're making the banker put up money. Oh, she's so mad. She wants to end this so quickly. Ooh. And then it's like, oh, you're doing poorly. She's going to spank you. Oh, no. Oh, she has a sense of humor. Here's $999,999 for Luke. So we
Which
can
somehow
stop
adds
saying
up to
$1.
18 in David's brain. Still trying to figure out that math.
Whoever the actual banker is, I just hope they carry this energy that they've been talking over the phone. Because if not, it's going to be real weird. I'm like, production, what are you doing? But yeah,
David it's not actually a
kills...
person on that phone, right, Isaiah?
No,
right?
Of course
it's just Joe
it's just
with
Joe
his
talking.
sex line.
It's just Joe talking. I know. But ultimately, David knocks out the park, and everyone's excited, and then you got like CK and Parvati going for a hug, and CK hates Will, and she's like, "Get the devil out." Oh, Will, you got any last things you want to say before you get?
She asked him if he had anything he wanted to admit, and I'm like, what would he admit? His answer to her though was like, "Yeah, that you suck." It was the funniest answer. I was like, that was the perfect response. What are you trying to get the man to admit?
Because I liked CK up until then. That's the point where I was just like, "Oh, I'm not a CK fan." That's where Cheyenne is correct. That got on my nerves because I was Team CK up until then. Now I'm rooting for her downfall because it's like you really kicking someone while they down. If you being that annoying this whole time is crazy. And listen, I love it. That's petty. That's good TV, as you should. Keep that same energy when it's your turn. That's all I gotta say. Because kicking people while they down is crazy. I don't know. That doesn't mean. But anyway,
karma's coming for her.
Will is out of here
in the game, not in real life.
I want to be clear.
I mean, to be fair, it did just happen to her. Like we just said it. Like her ass got called flat, y'all. Like,
but that was
her people.
Will.
But it wasn't Will. And she wanted to go down there, and she made the decision to not do what she said she was going to do again. And then she pissed off Seychelles. So, like, again, you kind of put yourself in a situation to get people pissed at you. But she's like gloating. I don't know. It's a little weird.
Yeah,
to be gloating.
It was
it's like you waited until he got out to be crazy like that. Like you was talking spicy.
Well, to be fair,
crazy.
she openly hated him while he was there
Yeah.
too. So
As a player, but she wasn't talking like that, calling him the devil and not like she waited till he got out to start talking crazy. It's like it's one thing to
And
be
she
like,
was
I
safe.
don't trust Will and I want out. Now you're safe and he's out. Now you want to start talking Spice Steel's cowardly to me. That's how I'm feeling. Well, there you go.
So yeah, David wins. And when he wins, Will stays seated. And
Keep
Letty
seated.
is the second farthest away. And I thought that was really funny. David
Yeah, he
sending Dr. Will home ended his television career.
To be fair, I have a problem with this too. And again, let me put my stand card in the time clock and clock in one more time for Dr. Will. But like for David to go in his confessional and be like, I ended this man, you're welcome, America. First of all, bro, when's the last time Dr. Will was realistically on TV? 2007. He hasn't played a game since then. I think he did Price is Right and then maybe some other random ass reality show back in the early 2000s. But like, you didn't end anything. He came out of retirement because like his daughter wanted him to play. Like, let's not be serious. I mean, let's be serious. Like, he's not like out there on the reality circuits like a Boston Rob on every single show. Like, he's not retiring just because you got the best of him. Let's like take it down a little bit. It's not that serious. But like, pat yourself on the back or whatever, I guess.
I mean, I think David. I'm not mad at David. I think he was just trying to have like his TV moment or whatever. He did call this guy bitch made like to his face.
Yes,
Like I feel like at the end of the day, I think it was all respect.
With braids in his
Will
hair.
could tell.
Yeah,
with
let's not forget
braids
the
in his hair.
braids. That was a little tragic.
I don't think
At least it wasn't locks.
Will or David have any real beef. I think they got respect for each other.
I think so too.
I just think he just wanted his DR moment because I do think David also, like Will, is trying to lean into like this villainy thing in this season, especially in the diary room. It's just not really like landing as much as I think he thinks it's landing. But I think he's trying to like give good TV, so I can appreciate that at least. It's just I don't know, it's not hitting the way I think he thinks it's hitting. But
the actions
that's
is
our
giving
episode.
Golden Retriever. Yeah,
Yes.
Golden
Yes.
Retriever, exactly.
the actions give
But
Golden
wait.
Retriever.
I wanna smash that case.
There's more.
What's
In
up?
the first after show episode 7, part 1, Seychelle gives us a lot of gems, and she lets us know that her and Dr. Will bonded over dermatology.
Is she a dermatologist?
I feel like they
He
both watched
is.
Dr. Pimple
Yes,
Popper.
he's been a dermatologist since Big Brother 2. He was
And
on
she
Real
likes
Housewives of Orange County.
skincare.
Oh, okay. Well, he gave MG a job at Laser Away.
Dr. Will,
Respect. Yeah.
The second
Charitable.
episode, the second after show, it was Boston Rob and Dr. Will, and honestly, they're both so charismatic and like salt and pepper and cute. But one thing that Dr. Will said is that like he was after Parvati and David because he saw them as a showmance, regardless of if there was any romance. He was
I see
like,
them
they're
as a
just the
showmance,
strongest
too.
one. Yeah.
That bond is not going to be broken. Like
No.
yeah, I think they're as dangerous as like a showmance in a game.
I encourage
There you go.
everyone to watch both after shows. It was very fun. Boston Rob was for Seychelle, and they did a little clip of all the weird things she said, and like how she has to explain the words to production as a Staten Island girl, and I was like, bless.
I love that.
I love her. I hope she gets on another show. She's such good TV. Like, I want to see her on Big Brother. Please,
Great.
please put her on Big Brother. Or The Traitors, maybe,
She was
because that's
on,
NBC.
I saw she
I
started
would
doing
like
like
the Traitors.
podcasts or whatever for Donnie too. So
Oh,
she's
fun.
she's out there in the
We
rain.
have enough podcasts.
If you want to check her out.
Yeah, I'm not going to listen to that, but I'll watch her on another show.
There you go. All right, guys. Listen, this was an episode. Do we have any final things we want to talk about episode 7 before we start closing out?
Still not understanding how 999,999 equals 18. If David eventually, if Boston Rob can ask him that question in their after show, which has already been filmed, I'm sure, I would love to know.
Can we name each snake in the grass? Is anyone not a snake?
Lachelle.
I don't think
Lachelle.
Lachelle.
Yeah,
I
Lachelle.
don't really think Letty's a snake in the grass either.
Is Philip a snake?
I don't
He
think
did
so
try
either.
to get Parv out.
No.
But I think
I don't
that's
think- I don't think
fair
he was.
game at this point for
Yeah.
Phil. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think he would be snaking her. I think it's fair game. I don't love the way Parv was treating Philip in the last episode. As someone who's supposed to be his ally, I think she misplayed that. I don't know if it's going to come back to bite her. Obviously, she's a much stronger player than Philip, but I think anything that happens from Philip to Parv is well within his rights because, you know, if he doesn't want to be a snake and wants to play with integrity, I think she shot first at him for sure.
Also, I
That's
will say I
awesome.
appreciate that he did the CK impression in the diary room about integrity. I thought that was hilarious.
I'm rooting for Philip. Philip's my
all
guy.
right.
I'm rooting for him moving forward.
There you go. All right, guys. That's our show. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching us live or watching us in the future, we really appreciate it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And if you want to keep up with everything we're doing at Silent Podcast, you can check us out at our social media pages at Silent Podcast or at underscore podcast. And then you can also find us on Blue Sky. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any of the other stuff, you can like with 5 stars. 5 stars only. If it's less than 5, don't do it at all. Wait till you hear something that you do like. Tim, thank you so much for joining us. This is such a fun podcast to have you on. Hopefully we can see you again very soon. And where can people find you and what are you up to?
I really enjoyed it. First of all, thank y'all for having me. Y'all can find me over on Instagram at TimSagramB. You can find me on the Bryson Wynn Present page. Survivor's right around the corner. I'll be talking quite a bunch about it. And then pay attention to YouTube because you might see something different coming to your screen soon
Ooh.
with me. So, yeah, that's been me. You can find me right there. And yeah, thanks for having me again.
I
All
love the
right.
tease.
Thanks for coming, Tim. Yeah. Katie, how about you?
Yeah, you could find me on Blue Sky at realsimkatie.bluesky.social. I am once again asking the general public to stop using that hell website and get onto a better social media platform. Please, it's out there for you, please. But other than that, you could find me on Fridays along with Isaiah and Javier and guests cycling through for Sign the Traders. We're rounding the finish line. I think there's like 3 or 4 more episodes left of the Traders. So check us out there. We're there almost every Friday, occasionally on a Saturday if it's Valentine's Day or other things are happening. But we'll be back on Friday to talk this week's episode here on Sound
All right.
Podcast, by the way. Yes, on this same site, same channel.
Cheyenne.
Awesome. I think I have 2 players left from our traders draft. So very excited to see who wins at the end of the season. I will also be at the Bryce and Wynn presents for Manhattan. I'm going to try to
Okay.
find some purple pants for the boys.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, it's Manhattan.
Oh,
Hey,
y'all are going to make me
alright,
go to
you know
this,
what?
even though I don't watch that show, aren't you?
I love New York
Now you gotta go see
already.
Katie. Now you gotta go see Katie. Yeah.
Yes. You can follow me on Instagram, Blue Sky, and I am Cheyenne New with a K because I know things. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll be able to see my upcoming comedy shows in the New York area.
All right.
Exciting.
And you can find me at 8Ball Bangers on everything. Every Wednesday, talking deal or no deal on Island with these people. Same with the traders every Friday with those people. And then I'm not sure if it's up yet, but I believe this week coming up, I started a new podcast on Reality Kickback with Chappelle and Gia Worthy for Black History Month. And I'm taking my brain steel talents to the Kickback to do draft for black cartoon characters every single stream, and we're literally doing survivor drafts with black cartoon characters. It's very hilarious. So you can check that out if you want to. We did a extremely long one a couple nights ago, so look out for that. But until next week, have a good one. Bye.